Guys, welcome into your weekly dose of college football. It is December 1st. I think I'm going to have one of the biggest Decembers in YouTube history, personally, guys. It's going to be crazy this month, but we've got some stuff to get to. It is conference championship weekend, and the coaching carousel right now, it's completely out of control, but let's get into the college football playoff rankings that were released last night. There you can take a look at the top 15. Georgia is a lock to make it no matter what. Michigan, if they somehow lose to Iowa, it'd be weird because Iowa would only have 2 losses. How does Iowa only have 2 losses? They can't move the ball. I don't know how they only have 2 losses, but if Michigan loses to Iowa, things could get weird. But obviously, if Michigan wins, they're locked into that number 2 seed, or maybe they would fall down if Alabama beats Georgia. Yeah, they probably would. As for Alabama, a lot of us could have used Alabama losing to Auburn. It should have happened. I don't know how it didn't happen. But Alabama right now, as it stands, if they win against Georgia, they're clearly in the playoff. And we have the issue where if they have a close loss to Georgia, they're probably still in the playoff, ladies and gentlemen. It's unfortunate. Number 4, we've got Cincinnati. Winning, they're in. I don't care if they win by 1 point, 10 points. They win. They are in the college football playoff. Oklahoma State needs an Alabama loss, preferably by double digits, coupled with a win of their own to get into the playoff. Notre Dame is out of it without Brian Kelly. There's some crazy takes going on with Notre Dame, but Notre Dame, guys, people are losing sight with Notre Dame. Think about it for a second. Their schedule is terrible. The best win they've had is a neutral site win against Wisconsin. I'm sorry. People are saying, oh, those kids should still make it. Let's actually look at their schedule. We're losing sight of their very bad strength of schedule. They don't have the resume to make it. And I made the case yesterday that Ohio State, as a 2-loss team that doesn't even make their conference championship, could still be in if Baylor beats Oklahoma State and Alabama loses to Georgia by a sizable margin. Now there's people saying, oh, but Baylor would be a Big 12 champion. They would be in. Are you kidding me? You realize Baylor lost to TCU? Yeah, Baylor's not moving ahead of Ohio State. I don't care if they win a watered-down Big 12, whatever, folks. It would be Ohio State as the number 4 seed. You really think they're going to put Baylor over Ohio State when it comes to the ratings and things like that? They would never do that, folks. But updated Heisman rankings. Is this a year where we just say we're not going to hand out the Heisman? I seriously cannot find a deserving candidate to win this award this year. I really can't. You've got Bryce Young at number 1. I think he should have been eliminated for his performance against Auburn. CJ Stroud. If you're an Ohio State quarterback and you lose to Michigan, you cannot win the Heisman. I'm sorry, you just can't. Matt Corral. You guys know, I mean, you watch my videos, guys. Man, I can't do it with him. I cannot do it. Stetson Bennett is this dude's 4th in the Heisman list. I will say, I would be okay. Why can't we just give it to somebody like, maybe Kenneth Walker, who really elevated his team, elevated that Michigan State program? We understand that, he wouldn't be the most deserving Heisman out of everyone, in all the years of the Heisman. But this year, I think Kenneth Walker is deserving. Kenny Pickett is another one who elevated his team way above expectations. We all knew Ohio State was going to be great. We all knew Alabama was going to be great. There's people talking about Aiden Hutchinson. Listen, Aiden Hutchinson had a phenomenal game against Ohio State. He had 15 total pressures. He was getting held. I agree with it. But Aiden Hutchinson's name never came up in the Heisman conversation until this last game against Ohio State. You can't win the Heisman based off of one game. I know he had a nice year, but come on, folks. The only time we're mentioning Aiden Hutchinson is this past weekend. You're not going to win the Heisman off of one game. This guy, he was nowhere close to being a Heisman. He has a great game against Ohio State. It was a huge win. But come on, folks. Let's be real. These are some college football tier rankings. I don't know if do you guys understand this? I'm not sure where these rankings are coming from. You've got Cincinnati in the 2nd tier above Michigan. I mean, why is Notre Dame? Where's Ohio State? You have Louisiana in. Do they just think Ohio State's eliminated from the playoff? But then they have UTSA in the 4th tier, Alabama behind Oklahoma State. And those tiers made no sense to me. I don't know if anyone else, thinks that as well. They just made no sense. I don't understand who came up with those. Teams ranked in the preseason AP Top 25 that are now not bowl eligible. So these teams completely underperformed. Indiana, what a terrible year. They were ranked 17th in the preseason AP poll. You've got Washington, who lost week 1 to Montana, an FCS school. Texas, who's just, my goodness, that program is a mess. And then USC. I really don't think USC cares too much about that right now, considering they got Lincoln Riley. And folks, Could you imagine if Caleb Williams transfers and is immediately eligible with Lincoln Riley? I really want to break down how Lincoln Riley completely nuked Oklahoma's program. He had all these 5-stars from California committed to Oklahoma. He goes to USC. All these kids decommit and then commit to USC. It's happening right now. There's a 5-star quarterback in the 2023 class, Malachi Nelson. By the way, if Malachi Nelson may be the perfect college football quarterback name. It is such a perfect name. He is the number 2 overall player in the 2023 class. He was committed to Oklahoma because of Lincoln Riley. This kid's from California. He decommits and he's already committed to USC now. USC is 100% back. The commits that Lincoln Riley, or the commits that Oklahoma lost because of Lincoln Riley going to USC are crazy. Their 2023 class is a mess. Their 2022 class is a mess, and they have to move to the SEC now. It's a complete double whammy. I feel so bad for Oklahoma fans. They do not like Lincoln Riley, and they shouldn't. They really should not. I saw this. This was interesting. Bo Nix, could he be looking to transfer from Auburn? Earlier today, Bo Nix said, quote, "I'm not sure what next year looks like, folks." Could you imagine Bo Nix as a 1-year transfer, immediate eligible, transferring to Penn State? Oh my God. Penn State, they've got a 5-star quarterback coming in this year, a Josh Allen type clone from the state of Ohio. Ohio State wasn't able to get him because of the whole Quinn Ewers thing. But Penn State, they need a quarterback next year. They're going to be into the transfer portal, and there are some legit options. How about this? Dylan Gabriel, the UCF quarterback who was great before he suffered a season-ending injury, is into the transfer portal, and so is Jack Miller. Maybe Penn State looks at one of those guys. I'm expecting Jack Miller to head back out west, maybe Arizona or Arizona State. That'll be interesting. More transfer portal stuff. Spencer Rattler entering his name into the transfer portal, and I did hear a rumor that Arizona State is the favorite for Spencer Rattler. That would kind of disappoint me. I always wanted Spencer Rattler to go to like a random MAC school. I think it would be funny, like Bowling Green. Could you imagine that? But he'll probably end up going. Texas A&M is an interesting option for Spencer Rattler. They need quarterback help. South Carolina, Georgia, Old Miss. Does Old Miss have a quarterback next year? I know Matt Corral is leaving. USC is interesting. And then, UCLA is interesting. USC, I believe the thought process with USC's quarterback next year, it's going to be Caleb Williams. That's the thought process. So I thought this was a really neat graph showing which college football programs offer the most when it comes. This is from 2022 recruiting, so you can see Arizona State, the most offers given to players. Kansas, Penn State is third. That kind of surprised me. Nebraska, just looking for any big names. Looks like Michigan is 15th, so they offer a lot of kids. Florida is right there. Looks like they're 16th. I'm looking at this from far away. Alabama and Georgia are at 29 and 30th. Looking for Notre Dame, they're at 38th. Looking for Ohio State, they are at 50th. And then Clemson is really exclusive. You can see Clemson, Northwestern. Clemson really isn't a hard school to get into, but they're very exclusive with their offers. You can see all the hard schools to get into, like Stanford, Northwestern, UCLA, that have higher academic standards with less offers. I thought that was interesting. Leaked Snapchat image shows Brett Venables' son and DJ Uiagalelei throwing up the horns down. So this is in reference to the idea that Brett Venables will be the next head coach of Oklahoma, and could he be taking DJ Uiagalelei, the former 5-star quarterback who struggled this year, but he still has a bright future? This one doesn't make sense to me. Brett Venables is not a quarterback guru. This is a defensive coordinator who's been the defensive coordinator at Clemson for a while now. He's had opportunities to take head coaching gigs. He's really just used, all these other schools offering him the head coaching gig as a buffer, as, a negotiation tactic to get raises from Clemson. But we'll see if he ends up going. Oklahoma's a really nice job. It is a tough situation right now with them losing all of their recruits and moving to the SEC. It's a double whammy, folks. It's tough. In reference to that Alabama-Auburn game, Auburn's FPI win probability with 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter was the dreaded 99.9%. and they lost. Do you know how easy this would be? Like, seriously, especially for a team like Ohio State. I'm not saying, I don't even know. Ohio State probably doesn't deserve to get into the playoff, but I'm just saying, could you have imagined if Alabama lost to Auburn? All we would need is Alabama to lose to Georgia. That's it. It wouldn't have to be by double digits. If they lost by 1 point, they would have 3 losses. They would be out. But Auburn, you have a 99.9% chance to win. How are you losing the game? And then to compound it, they go to the first overtime. Alabama scores a touchdown. I thought there's no way Auburn answers with a touchdown here. No way. Auburn's backup quarterback literally looked like he had a broken ankle. They somehow score a touchdown, and I'm screaming, go for two. Go for two. Why would you want to extend this game? Your quarterback can barely walk. Just go for the win. They had a great 2-point play that they ended up having to attempt because it went to 3 overtimes, and with the new college football rule, after 2 overtimes, you just do 2-point conversions to see who wins. They draw up this unbelievable 2-point play in the 3rd overtime. They convert it. Why not? Why didn't you do that in the 1st overtime when you could have won the game? Oh my goodness. That was crazy, folks. It's a tough situation to explain. And you know who public enemy number 1 right now is in college football? Brian Kelly. Take a look at this. Brian Kelly calls a 7 a.m. team meeting at Notre Dame and then leaves the campus at 7:11 a.m. There's actually a screenshot of a text message, I think I have it, of Brian Kelly addressing the Notre Dame players the night before the 7 a.m. meeting, saying basically, hey guys, I'm leaving. I'm sorry I didn't tell you. I'm sorry you had to find out from social media. We're having a meeting tomorrow at 7 a.m. They have the meeting and the dude dips at 7:11. So it's a 11-minute meeting. And apparently he ghosted all of the Notre Dame staff, and one of the Notre Dame coaches was recruiting when the announcement was made in a kid's home. Because you could do these in-home visits. Oh my goodness. And we're going to end it off on this note. I thought this was just such a sweet photo. Jackson Smith-Njigba. Remember his name. He's my favorite player in college football. He somehow caught this ball, and on top of it, pass interference wasn't even called, and they reviewed the play. Jackson Smith-Njigba. Love that dude. My favorite player in college football. Michigan, big win, no doubt. Really good, but I thought that was a funny play, guys. Enjoy Conference Championship weekend. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I'm, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.